Yeah. So,
Martin, here we sit. Beautiful. In the Pfalz.
Yeah, in the Pfalz, in the northern part of Palatinate.
You just said to me a little bit off the radar, right, for classic Pfalz, because we always think about Dürkheim and Neustadt and then Landau.
Yeah.
But you are fairly much more north here, right?
Yeah. So there's one more village up to the northern, up to north in Palatinate. But this region here around about Grünstadt or Asselheim, our village, is mostly unknown for good wines in the last 30 to 40 years, because it was too cold to produce the standard wines from some years ago.
Okay.
So the last years were really good for us, because our region is still colder than the region around about Deidesheim, Forst or Neustadt, for example. And we have some different soils to the rest of the Palatinate. The part of limestones in our sites is really high. So today we hear a lot of every region has some limestone soils, and yeah, it depends.
But I think really this is something we saw when we were out in the vineyards before. You showed me like the different like soil structures and limestone and also like Los Lehm, I guess, as a base, right?
Yeah.
And this explains, of course, heavily why your winery focuses so much on Burgundy varieties, which I'm looking forward to dive into with you in a bit. But also being said, cool climate, hot climate, cool climate, right? I mean, we decided to record the interview on your terrace in the shade because I came to you at 9 a.m. today here in August, and it was already 27 degrees. So we were escaping from the vineyard. It's a bit too hot out there.
Yeah, that's true. So this summer is different to the last few summers. We had some rain, we had some colder days, some colder nights, and then back in June and today or the last 2 or 3 days, it's really hot. So we had in June some days between 38 to 40 degrees. Yesterday it was 35, 36 degree roundabout. So it's not a weather we need. So short before harvest.
I can totally understand. Let's dive into that a little bit later, because the whole debate about global warming, I know, and how to work against it also in a, let's say, natural way, right? It's very important for you and your style of winemaking. But first questions first. You get the same ones as everybody else. So number one for you, if you wouldn't be a winemaker today, what would be the alternative for you in life?
I think I would be a chef. So it's for me, both jobs have a few things similar to each other. So the understanding of culinary, of taste, of flavors, the way to produce something what has a completely own style of taste. That's what I like. I like cooking for us private at home, and I like it.
I mean, food and wine goes hand in hand, right? And I mean, I have, let's say, I have met few quality winemakers who are not really engaged in preparing food and ingredients and so on and so forth, right? So it's really good combination.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So you have really a lot of things similar to each other, or in both jobs similar, and I think it's interesting. So a chef has every day a new chance to create something new. We have one chance per year, so it's a bit more difficult.
The pity of being a winemaker, right? I mean, mistakes are unforgivable, and you have a new chance next year. Great. So now you are a winemaker today. So the estate is from your wife's family, correct?
Yeah.
And you run the estate today with your wife and with your parents-in-law?
Yeah.
And siblings also like included?
Yeah, the sister of my wife is the boss in the office.
Mm.
And yeah, so our winery is completely
family driven,
yeah,
but also like
family driven,
you have around 20 employees, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
rather like a big operation.
yeah.
I mean, for Pfalz, like fairly normal, because we have bigger wineries here than, for example, in the Ahr or in the Mosel. But I mean, it's a kind of interesting because, you know, normally I had like a lot of interviews with these more like 3.5 hectare family producers from the Mosel. And for them, this question might be a little bit easier to answer. So I'm excited to hear what you will answer. If we look at your winery's philosophy, and what you do, or maybe also like your personal philosophy in making wine. Is there like a single person or a single experience in your development and education where you can say this really shaped my perspective on how to make wine?
Yeah, for sure. I learned at winery Friedrich Becker, and yeah, both of them, so Fritz Becker Senior and Junior, both told me really a lot about good wine, great wines, big wines, how to produce them, how to taste them, to understand the taste of good wine, the feeling of good wine. I remember a sentence Fritz Becker Senior told me when I learned that in 2009, it was there. And he said, you don't make big wines with your head, you make the big wines with your stomach. And that's true. You need a feeling to produce great wines. And that's a feeling you can't learn this in school. You've got it or you don't.
Yeah.
And that's true. And I remember this sentence a lot of times. And every time I think about it, yeah, it's true. It's true. You have to listen to your feelings, not only to your head.
The winemaker's intuition, right, which really drives the decision. I love it. Beautiful. So yeah, the Beckers, here from the Pfalz too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the southern part.
In southern part.
Yeah, in Schweigen-Rechtenbach.
Beautiful. That was great in a very concrete way. I really love it. Like when for some people it's easier to point to one person or to one experience. For others, it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
So regards to them. Now a bit more about you. Difficult question.
Yeah.
You and your personality as a bottle of wine.
Really difficult question. Yeah. A bottle of wine, a special wine you want to know?
You can try to answer it as ever you want. I mean, style of wine, grape variety, could be.
I think it's the style of our own Chardonnays is very similar to my personality. So it's we have a lot of acid, so it's an edgy wine. So it's not not to behave wine. It shows you there's power, but in a very silent, smooth way of it. And I think it fits.
I totally love it because I had a similar answer yesterday with regards to Chardonnay as being not so behaved, being a bit wild, but also not being so loud, right? Because Chardonnay is always like a little bit more subtle than like Riesling, for example.
That's true. Chardonnay is I told you before, for me the wine Chardonnay or Pinot Noir is, for me, it's in the style of wine very similar to each other. It has to be elegant, it has to be fine, but it should never be boring. So it has to be a bit spicy, a bit wildness in it, but never boring, but never too loud again. So you have to find a balance.
I love it. I love it that you put this like it should never be boring perspective. It really reminds me of my sommelier education when I took it a couple of years ago, and where we in the section about French wines just got a Chardonnay to begin with, and it was just like such a totally nothing saying, steel tank driven, somewhere like French province Chardonnay, right? Yeah. And I remember like our teacher saying, in essence, that is Chardonnay. Yeah. An extremely boring grape variety that has nothing to say unless the winemaker makes it to have something to say, right? And
true.
That is a great thing about it.
That's true, and that's one big thing for me in making Chardonnay. It's as you said, Chardonnay for itself is it's a boring variety. When you pick the grapes too late, so the acid goes down and down, you can make Chardonnay taste like nothing. That's no problem. But when you want to produce Chardonnay in a very fine, elegant way, you can give so much to Chardonnay for very different steps in vineyard, in winemaking, in aging the selected barrels, for example. It's a big thing. And yeah, so these wines show my personality, my style of winemaking very good. And yeah, that's true. So in these bottles is a lot of from myself.
Beautiful. We taste it in a second. First question for you before we go into that. Nature.
Yeah.
What does it mean for you and the work in the vineyard?
It's a basic for all we do. So without nature, we can't do what we do. But sometimes nature, makes our job very difficult. So we had some hailstorms this year. We had some very dry and hot periods. Then we had some very wet, rainy periods. So you don't have a direction. You go into the next season, the next year of winemaking. So it's every year is a new experience of winemaking. You learn every year some new things. You can't say, oh, we did it last year in this way or the year before. It's every year is a new thing. We have to challenge, and it's very difficult, but it's a very interesting part of our job too.
Especially in those recent vintages, right, where everything is new.
Yeah, of course. I told you about the vintage 2006 before. It wasn't a really easy vintage in our region, but you see the big producers or the grape producers. You can't produce a bad vintage in this level of wineries we are at the moment. And you have to be good every year, and you have to get better every year. And this it doesn't matter if the vintage is hot and dry or wet and rainy. You have to be good every year, and that's a challenge for us. And these are the little steps every year, or the little decisions we have to make every year to reach these targets we want. Yeah.
Beautiful. So now we talked so much about Chardonnay. So maybe let's have a sniff of it while you introduce to us the winery Metzger.
Yeah.
Weingut Metzger. Who are you? What are you doing?
We're here in Grünstadt-Asselheim, the northern part of Palatinate, and our focus in the winery is fully based on Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. So we do a bit of Riesling for sure.
You have to. You're a German winery, right?
Yeah. No, Riesling it's a big thing too, but the focus for us, it's totally on these two grapes. Yeah. And with our sites, our vineyards are based on big limestone rocks, and so the sites, for me, the vineyard decides what we plant on it. And for me, these vineyards we have in the back of us are made for Pinot and Chardonnay. And
so very, very terroir driven from the approach.
Yeah.
And that is something I think we really experienced when you showed me through the vineyards. I found it kind of interesting how you showed me different sites. And you remember when we had some Chardonnay site and I told you, wow, this is so much cooler than this other site where we just have been within like 5 minutes, right? And so much more wind.
Yeah.
So this is really like at the essence for you, right? To look at each plot and think what can you do here?
Yeah.
Which clone can you do here, right? Because you work with a lot of different clones also. And some very privileged stuff. You told me you got some from the DRC clones, right? Yep. So not everybody has those in the vineyard. So yeah.
The sites decide what we blend in it. So we've been to 4 different Chardonnay sites, and everyone is completely different. Completely different to the next one, and that's a very interesting thing for me to get these impressions of the site to the bottle of it. And every Chardonnay in our bottles has to speak the vineyard out.
So we have now.
The wine has to tell you something about the vineyard, the terroir in the vineyard.
So what is the Asselheim Goldberg telling me that we have in the glass, telling me about the vineyard?
Asselheim Goldberg, it's about 270 meters above sea level. It's southeast facing vineyard, but a bit more south, and it grows on pure limestone. So you saw the limestones on the ground. We planted here some 2 different clones selected in Meursault, and the grapes were picked by hand, then meshed, laid down on the cooling container for 1 night on the mesh. And a big thing we do in the Chardonnays, we don't destem them. So after the night in the cooling container, we press them by basket press, about 8.5 hours, but to 8 bar pressure.
8 bar pressure, okay.
Yeah. Then we press them into a stainless steel tank. Then
so you stir it once around to distribute the lees, no?
Okay. And then we fill it into barricks. So this one is about 60% new barrels, 40% second use barrels. And we work here with 2 different forests where the wood comes from for the barrels. So for me it's a good example, this wine. It's very elegant, but you have some spiciness in the mouth.
Totally,
And that's the way of Chardonnay I like.
But I mean, you have also you said Meursault clones, right? So I think this is definitely very present for me in the nose immediately. It's sweaty mineralities that you get from Meursault, usually. Nice fruit profile, but really for me the minerality is so much dominant in the experience, and a little bit of of course the malolactic is coming out super nicely, some butterscotch perspective, and then on the palate. I mean, the one thing that really strikes you is the acidity, right? I mean, you told me that your wines come in with high levels of acidity. Nonetheless, we have 13% alcohol, right? 23 vintage, okay. Maybe not the ripest vintage, right? It's also a little bit maybe greenish, phenolic on the palate, which gives it probably some super nice aging potential. But it's really nice and balanced. It has substance, it has the alcohol to carry the structure, it has the acidity to remain fresh. Super lovely example of that Germany can produce something like this, right?
Of course. Also, this wine has about a half gram of residual sugar, but it's almost by 8 gram acidity. So, but the pH level of our soils, and then in the juice again, we break the acidity at a high level, so it doesn't get aggressive in the mouth. And a Chardonnay should never be aggressive.
No.
It has to be fresh, it has to be spicy, but never aggressive in the mouth. So then you lose all the elegance.
Not like Riesling.
Which
is allowed to be aggressive in the mouth sometimes.
Totally.
Interestingly, I mean, it's maybe a good bridge to quickly talk a little bit about global warming. Because nonetheless, we are in the Pfalz, or Palatinate, how you call it in English, and it's getting hotter. So any concerns from your side about the future when it comes to global warming and the style of wines that you are going for? Will there be some big challenges ahead for that style?
There will be a really big challenge. For me, the biggest part of it will be the acidity, to keep the acidity in the grapes. The ripeness of the grapes is no problem, so you can pick them earlier. You get the sugar earlier, the acidity is the big thing in the next few years for me to keep it up. And in our style of winemaking, we have in all of our wines we have relative high acidity. So we talked about Chardonnay about almost 8 gram, between 7.5 to 8 gram acidity in the Chardonnay styles. Our Riesling has less acidity than our Chardonnays, for example. But you have to choose the right sites for the right varieties, and the big thing, I think, what will come is the more international grapes. So
you said you planted Tempranillo already, right?
We planted our first vineyard with Tempranillo in 2006.
Okay.
So it was about 0.3, 0.4 hectares. Now we have got 1.5 hectares of Tempranillo. And that it's no problem to produce. And that's, on one side, it's a cool thing. You can produce this. On the other side, it's really scary.
Yes, because if the Shiraz is coming to Germany, right, and all kinds of other like Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc are really like coming perfectly along in the Pfalz by now.
But that's a big thing about our region. We can produce great Riesling, we can produce, but also we can produce Chardonnay on a really high level, Pinot on a high level, but we can produce some Bordeaux blends on a high level, just a few villages.
What is strategy in the vineyard? Canopy management, I had the impression, like leaf wall management is very, very important to you. Also from the, I mean, you are not organically certified, but you work basically organic, right? Everything you
almost,
do. And you have even some, walk us a little bit through it. What is your process in the vineyard? What is your philosophy in the vineyard?
In the last few years, we changed a lot of things in our processions in the vineyards. Started by the leaf management. I told you we don't cut the leaves in our top sites. The greening management on the soils has changed completely. So both of our
rows.
Both of our rows are greened, and that's for me it's some big steps to keep the water and the temperature in a normal level on the soils. We did some tests in rows without greening, so you had some temperatures in summer around about 50 to 60 degrees.
Oh.
So when we break the greening, the grass, the plants down, then you have in the shadow you are about 25 to 30 degrees.
You get so much down, right? It's crazy.
And that's a big thing to keep all the small insects, to keep everything alive in the shadow or in the soils. And you keep the water. It's a completely different. You see that the vineyards develop completely different. You have to be attentive when you look at your vineyards, how they develop. So it could go completely in a wrong way too when it's too dry, and then you have to make the decision. Okay, what will we do now?
But I have to say, actually, also after having seen like many vineyards this year in different parts of Germany over the growing season, yours look pretty good. I mean, did you have like water problems, or how was the rainfall here in Pfalz for you this year?
Normally, we don't have water problems like other regions in Palatinate. But of course, we saw the start of water problems too in June. When it was around about 40 degrees, and but we have some really good soils to keep the water, and that's a big plus for us in our vineyards. And
Beautiful. Let's go for second wine, because the Pinot is smiling at me since you opened it, actually. So, and we have the Mühlheim Sonnenberg.
Yep.
By the way, what about the cow on the labels? Because that is really like the signature of your. I mean, Metzger is a butcher, right? So that is a family name and the winery name.
Yeah. We had until 2010 or 11 really a complete normal Palatinate style label.
Yeah.
And my wife and my father-in-law said, we want to make something new. It has to be new. Everyone has to think, wow, okay, that's good. Then we had the other labels made by Mediamarkt. The bull was a bigger on the label, on part of it, and we didn't use the sections A, B, C, or 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. They made it by the parts of the meat.
Yeah.
So it's then the basic was flanke. It was the gray stomach painted on the
skank. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Flanke, or Bürgermeisterstück in German, was the blue or the red part of it, and then the top wines were painted the golden fillet of it, and it was really good. I don't know if it would be the same effect now again. I don't think so, because the whole developing of new style wine labels was so big after it. And for sure, it was a big step for us in the winery, but also it was a big step for us in the winery to split the company again in winery and the big part of our company. And yeah, I wanted to have really some classic labels. It has to be a good paper, nothing crazy on it. It has to be clean, a good paper, a nice Schriftart.
A nice font, yeah.
Yeah, a nice font, yeah.
And you really go for, also actually what the VDP is also like currently doing in its label redesign, right? You really go into showing the site, the vineyard site, right? And putting it in focus again.
Yeah.
So here's the Sonnenberg, the Mühlheimer Sonnenberg, the perfect Pinot site.
Yeah, it's a perfect Pinot site for us. It's it's a south-facing site or vineyard. We split Sonnenberg also again in Sonnenberg and Hesselbrunnen. Hesselbrunnen is a small part of the Sonnenberg side. But this side for me, or this wine shows for me the style of our Pinot making at its best. It's fine. It has pressure in the mouth, but it's every time elegant, never heavy again.
And we have Burgundy clones here?
We only have Burgundy clones here. And so we use 1 barrel or 1 tonne for our Pinots. Yeah, that's the way I like drink and produce Pinot Noir.
The fun thing about it is, I mean, it's always like this difficult debate, right? Pinot Noir versus Spätburgunder. But here it's really, I mean, you also like put Pinot Noir on the label, I think very consciously, also like for the international market. But it's really the point when you have like good Burgundy clones and you have the right terroir and soil and the right style of winemaking.
Yeah.
It's not reductive at all.
No.
You do not have any hint of this, like what we often call for the typical Spätburgunder, this like burnt matchstick feeling, this like smoky feeling, this reductive feeling.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Yeah.
It just tastes of or smells of Pinot Noir in that regard, right?
Yeah. And that's what I told you before. For me, big wines and great wines don't live from reduction. It don't live from only wild style, green phenolic. For me, as I said before, Chardonnay and Pinot Noir are very similar to each other. And both of them, they're from elegance, from the fine bodied. It has to be a very clear fruit of it. But it also should be minerality driven.
Totally.
So the basic of all of these wines is the minerality where they grow. And this is what you should have in glass too. But every one of them has to be very clear.
It's really nice, straightforward acidity. It's like a nice, precise acidity that catches you immediately on the top of the tongue, which is very beautiful. I think the tannin structure, it's so light and touchy, but it is there, like with a scratchy structure, filling the mouth, giving it structure when it lingers there. I mean, the food profile is simply amazing, right? You are, again, so much more on this like French classic Burgundy style Pinot side, where we have more like the cranberry, more the hibiscus, more the, let's say, sour aromatics, not so much like this like strawberry and ripe raspberry that we get sometimes in classic Pfalz Spätburgunder. Let's just say it, especially when they come with 14% alcohol, 14.5, and are harvested way too ripe. Right? I mean, for me, it's like I told you already in Mainz when we tasted your wines at Wien. I'm pretty impressed by like the style of Burgundy varieties that you put in the glass, especially like coming from the Pfalz. It's a bold statement, right? And really like a good example of showing what we can do. I mean, I think you feel this also like as a winery, right? That there is a certain demand for these products. People perceive it very well in Germany right now, and also like in other countries, right?
Yeah.
In the Netherlands, for example, you're fairly strong placed.
So the winery line, we launched it in May officially.
Okay.
So you tried it before.
I tried it before the official launch. Okay.
But these wines, so in the last 10, 12 years, our Chardonnays and Pinot Noirs were placed very good in every tasting we put them in. And for us, the Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, for sure, is one of the biggest markets for these wines. So some of these wines go to Hong Kong, USA, Japan, France, Italy, Spain. So it's on the right way.
And now we see you in Copenhagen in January at the Cool Climate Summit, which we're very happy about. Adding you there as an exhibitor and having these great Chardonnays and Pinots represented. So I'm pretty sure that this also like will be met with some excitement.
Yeah, I hope so.
We work on that definitely. But maybe looking a bit on the crystal ball, I mean, to round it off, 5 years from now, where are you and where's the winery?
I hope still here. No, it's a difficult situation at the German market at the moment. Everyone knows who produces or works with wine in Germany. But as I told you before, when you stand still at this time, then you're gone. So we have to go on every year for year again. We develop every year something new, some little steps to get much better wine than the year before. Again, the next few years, I think we will develop our Chardonnay style for sure, the Pinot style for sure, and that's the direction I see that's the direction I see where the winery should go. The way, and to place the winery as a top producer for these both grapes in Germany. We are on a good way, but not on the end where I want to go.
Not on the end where you want to go. Yeah. Beautiful. Looking forward to follow that journey over the next couple of years and see you first step in Copenhagen in January. Cheers. Thanks for having me here.